Yo, what's up? Yeah, that is me. For this video, I'm gonna do something a bit different than the usual Monster Hunter Freedom Unite video that I have been doing. And I've seen that you guys have been enjoying the series, and that's really cool. I like that. I also love making them. But for today, I want to do a different video. One with my voice at last. I hope that your ears don't bleed from hearing my weird English. I am Puerto Rican, ya hablo español naturalmente, ese es mi lugar, mi territorio. But I want to get my English in some practice. But anyway, today I would like to talk about my favorite elder dragons from Monster Hunter. And we all know how these monsters are. They're very unique, very cool, and also very interesting, and sometimes can be very profound. So I will be listing 10 elder dragons that I love the most from the entire series. It's not going to be in order. I mean, kind of, yes, it's going to be in order. And I know that as I keep making this type of videos, I'm going to improve my English. So that's something that I want to see in the future. I will be making a list in order, from in order of like to most favorites. Okay. This is not going to be also a deep video or anything. It's going to be very simple. It's just gonna be me talking about this monster quickly, simple, and just geeking about how much I love this franchise, to be honest. So anyway, let's begin. Valstrax is a really fun idea overall. I do remember back then that I used to not like this monster because it looked very, let's say, a bit too fictional. But I realized that is a very stupid statement, to be honest. I mean, it's basically because I was very used to the whole creature design in Monster Hunter Tri. If you guys didn't know, my first Monster Hunter was Monster Hunter Tri, so I was very used to the whole aesthetic of that, and by seeing the implementation of this monster, I was very shocked about it. Despite Monster Hunter having sometimes some elements of practicality in its creature design, there's also some random elements in its creature design. Like, for example, we got a dog that uses lightning. We also got a freaking dinosaur that punches like a boxer, and somehow, and for some reason, its saliva is explosive. And for me, the peak of the iceberg, we got a freaking volcano dragon, bros. And I'll be talking about that later, so stay tuned. But yeah, and in the end, I believe that aesthetics is more important than practicality, at least in some aspects. But really, that's the whole strength of Capcom, But in reality, this monster is so cool. It looks so. I like the whole artificial feel of it, because it is essentially a rocket dragon. That's basically it. I do like how they managed to put some anatomy and biology to the monster. The whole thing about him taking in the air from his chest, and how he uses the dragon energy and all his design. I like if we talk about in character design terms, I like the whole points, the triangles in it. It makes him feel very robotic, and I guess that was the point. The fight, it is really cool, I gotta say, right? The whole stage, like when he's almost about to die, when you're on top of that tower and seeing how close the atmosphere is, it's very cool to see, not gonna lie. And of course, I can't leave without talking about that freaking music theme. This monster has one of the most unique an iconic theme I have ever heard. There's something about the song that feels so, I don't know, so heroic and dynamic. And speaking about dynamic, it really fits because the entire fight is also very dynamic. Like how he moves and how the hunter uses the hunter arts. It really adds to that, you know. I don't really have much else to say about Valstrax, to be honest. I mean, lore-wise, there really isn't much that I at least have seen. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's really about it. It's a cool monster. Also, I want to say that I didn't really like the rice version. I don't know, and the Dean is not really. It's like how they say, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. For me, the original is way better. I like the how he looks and how he feels in that game. Either way, it was a really fun implementation for that game. And I remember once that I was playing with a friend of mine, and that experience of being invaded by a Valtrax, that was really funny and cool. So you know, at least some points for that. But yeah, that's our boy Valstrax. Bro, this monster lives rent free in my mind forever. The first time that I fought Dalamadur, I was a little kid, and man, seeing that big ass noodle was amazing. And it left me shocked in astronomical levels. There are a few fights in Monster Hunter about, you know, giant monsters, like for example, we got Lao Shanlong and Gemoran. But for me, Dalamaru sticks out the most for me. And I'm not saying that those are bad. I really like them. But Dalamaru for me is the peak of giant monsters in Monster Hunter. Like just the entire art about it, like his design, the area, the freaking tower that looks like the Tower of Babel or a skyscraper. And seeing how he's wrapped around the tower and the sky, bro, it's so cool, man. It's, you know what? It's cinema. And not gonna lie, but achieving that sense of scale for the console that this game was in, which was the 3DS, they really did an amazing job of making this thing feel very enormous. You can even see his entire body. In fact, his body parts are separated in locators, so you can focus in on the head or on the tail. And for me, the cherry on top is seeing how he summons these blue meteors. That for me adds some aspects to the visuals of the entire fight, you know. And again, I have to say that in terms of lore, I don't have much to say too. So, like I said before, if I'm wrong, please let me know. Please tell me, and also link source, please. What I do know is that apparently the Dalamaru that we fought in 4 Ultimate, it was really a juvenile. Like, I can't imagine how an adult will look like. And I'll be willing to say that the Easter egg in Monster Hunter World from the Rotten Veil, the whole skeleton, that might be it. That skeleton looks much bigger than the 4 Ultimate counterpart. I also heard that there's another skeleton of Dalamadur in Monster Hunter Wild that is even more bigger. That is insane to me. Overall, Dalamadur feels like fighting a mythological creature, you know, like a legend. It's like a monster that is only mentioned in children's stories, you know, folk tales. It's really cool, man. And also, I want to praise the animation too. Like, to be honest, Monster Hunter doesn't get a lot of recognition for this animation. Like, the 3D animation in these games are so good. Like, the whole behavior, how they move, especially again Dalamadur, how he how he moves around, the noises, the sound effects, and especially that cutscene from Chad Dalamadur, like how he looks here like a drill, wiggling around. It's so cool, man. I gotta say. Let's talk about the design. Yes, for me, it's very phenomenal. Even if at a glance it might seem like just a snake, but there's a lot of alterations in its serpent-like characteristic. Like, for example, the rows of teeth, the forelimbs, and also the row of backward spikes throughout his body. The eyes being up front, the big chest with that like reddish flesh or something. I don't know how it opens. It's very weird. And also his theme is pretty cool. They don't really talk about it that much, but I like it. It's very fitting. Like the trumpets, or I guess brass, you will call it maybe. The brass are very fitting for big monsters. So they really did a good job about it. And the Monster Hunter 4 main theme motif that you can hear in the theme is also very cool. So overall, again, damn good monster. I hope that he comes back. I mean, at this point, they're gonna bring it back. I mean, if we got a skeleton about Dalamadur again, plus the whole feel of Monster Hunter 4 in Monster Hunter Wilds, it's for me very interesting. So I think that yes, he's gonna be back, and that's gonna be amazing. Like with how the technology is now, that they're going to do an insane job. Plus how cinematic that game is. Yo, they are gonna hook. But yeah, that's Dalamadur. And yet again, another common Monster Hunter 4W. Gogmazios is one of the most coolest monsters in the franchise. And his design is also very unique for a dragon. Again, I like how they design dragons in these games. And I say that because normally in entertainment, they design dragons very, very like generic, like the usual red dragon with 4 legs and some horns, But I like how they design Gogmazios. His face is shaped like some kind of shark. You know what? In fact, no. It's more like a draconified sperm whale. The chest spikes, the tar flowing and dripping down off his body, the dragonated spear on his back adds to that menacing and intimidating presence. The glowing red eyes, I also like that. And I don't know how to explain, but his colors are very, very cool looking, like that mix between the blue and the black. For me, it's one of my favorite color palettes in art, like really. For example, one of my favorite games is Shadow of the Colossus, and at least speaking about the remake, if you see the colors, it's basically like blue and black, and I love seeing that duo of colors. Like that color combo adds like an otherworldly feel, which is really fitting for Gogmazios, and especially for his weapons. Let's talk about the weapons. I actually don't know why I didn't mention the weapons of the other 2 monsters, but I mean, in my opinion, Gogmazios has the most unique looking weapons and equipment from this list. So yeah, I love how they look. It again feels so otherworldly. And there's also like an architectural feel to the weapons. Like, for example, the Grey Sword, man, the Grey Sword is so clean. It's one of my favorite Grey Sword design, and I used to use it a lot. Like seeing the symbols add to that ancient feel to it. Again, the blue, it's so cool, man. What can I say? Gogmazios themes are very cool. Like nobody really talks about it that much. But I love the trumpets, the brass, I love the brass. They are like a like this kaiju feel to the monster, and it's very fitting again because he is a giant monster and a bit horrific. The fight itself is very interesting design too. Like I always love to use those ballistas and the cannons in siege fights, but they took it a step further in this game. Like how you can move around this big cannon like a cart or something. It really is really cool. It really added like kind of like a level designish feel to the area. I like that. I really like that. In terms of lore, once again, I don't have much to say about it, and if I'm wrong, please tell me. But I do know that there's something about like is dye being sulfur and gunpowder, and how the Dragonator in the back it might be an ancient Dragonator, and also how the guild thinks that Gogmazios came from a swamp, and that swamp will be, I guess, what we call their marshlands from the first and second generation. I'll be showing the picture here. The thing that I don't understand about this monster is something about the story is how did these people not see this thing? Like apparently in the game they really never saw Gogmazios because he came down and he ate all the gunpowder and he left all of this destruction, and they had no clue about what really came through there.
What?
Like how did a single soul even at least see a centimeter? Like this thing is big. How do you see that? Well, what can I say? It's okay. Regardless, fantastic monster again. Monster Hunter 4, they be cooking there, you know. Hopefully again they could add Gogmazios back. I will be fitting for the oil well basin in Monster Hunter Wild, so who knows? Gore and Shagaru Magala are the best flagship in the entire series, period. They executed him perfectly within the story. Honestly, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate from start to finish was a cinematic experience. And to be honest, this game should have been called Monster Hunter Cinema Ultimate because of how much cinematography it really had. I still enjoy the cinematography of recent Monster Hunter games, especially Wilds, from the clips that I've seen. But I feel like there's this unique essence that only 4 Ultimate really achieved with the cinematography, and it had disappeared over time. But anyways, everything about this monster is extremely unique. It's Shadow Dragon with 6 limbs, one of the 2 being its own wings that act like extra arms, the way that it also uses its own massive wings as this dark cape. It reminds me of Guts from Berserk, and how it flows as if it's a shadowy aura itself. I also like the eyeless round face, which makes it look extremely unique for a dragon. I also like how below the cape like wings, it glows like this nice mix of colors of cyan blue with light grayish, and that oddly gives it like a very gleaming look, which now that I look at it, that's basically just a hint for its adult form, Shagaru Magala, which I'll be talking about right now. I also like how Magala plays in the story, you know, his role. How his scales spread this frenzy virus that makes monsters go crazy and the environments too. And you can see how that reflects the gameplay too. It's very cool. So Shagaru Magala, I really like the irony with this form because his juvenile form is it's very dark, very shadowy and edgy. But when it sheds its scales into Shagaru Magala, it looks somewhat heavenly, bright, and almost angelical-like. And the way I see it as a Christian myself, Gore and Shagaru Magala are pretty much like some kind of Lucifer figure, like him being an evil angelical being that disguises himself as an angel of light, and till to this day spreading evil into the world, damaging humanity and even the natural world itself. And maybe they did use it as a reference, you know. Maybe I'm cooking? Let me know. If I'm being very honest, this is for me the first time and the last time that I felt such a personal relationship with a monster in this series. Because I love how this game immerses you so much that it makes you develop like a personal rivalry against a monster. It feels extremely personal. Also, great musical themes too. I like the music of Magala, Shagaru too. They're very fitting for the type of monster and thematics of it. So great stuff. I just want to say one thing about Shara Ishvalda. Capcom cooked with this final boss. I've always loved how they make final bosses in these games, but especially for this, for Shara Ishvalda. They really make you feel the presence and how powerful these monsters really are. Shara Ishvalda gave me one of my top best gaming moments ever. Doing this fight blind without knowing how Shara looked inside the rock disguise was a blessing for me, man. I seen the face of the real being that was inside that rock disguise, absolutely golden, and the timing of the music and all it was so cinematic. At first, I thought that the first form was just like another monster, like an obstacle on our path. But again, realizing that it was really just one monster. That's really cool.
Ew, ew,
What?
What?
Oh.
What the fuck?
And the design of Ishvalda is so cool. It's for me one of the most unique looking dragons in fiction. And like I said before with Gogmazios, you know how they usually design dragons nowadays, they're very generic. But again, with this monster, they really went all out. Like the colors of it, the wings that act like hands, like spooky hands, the root-like details throughout his body, they really add to that early feel to the dragon. And my favorite part of the design is the face. The face is so weird and cool at the same time. There's like a humanoid or human feel to the face, which makes it more unique, in my opinion. Like I like it when they make weird final bosses. I want to feel threatened and scared. So they really did a good job in that aspect. Like especially the eyes. The eyes, like they feel like they're looking at your soul. And I say that literally because, in case you didn't know, this monster is designed in a way that when it looks at you, it's actually looking at the camera. Like he is looking at the camera, which is you. That's a very, let's say, immersive aspect to the fight and the entire dragon overall. Like breaking that fourth wall is scary, and especially for a game like Monster Hunter. It was never done before. I do wonder, since that's the case, I wonder what Shara Ishvalda have seen throughout behind the screen. like we could ask her like, yo, how do you feel about watching Mongol dirty ass fighting you? Oh my god, what I'm saying. No hate for Mongols, I don't think that anyone should be hated, but they can be judged, in a way. And despite him having some weird stuff, either way, I want to spread love either way. But anyway, I want to also say that there's something weirdly beautiful about Ishvalda, like in terms of design, and it's the colors again, because they look like a lotus flower, which has the same colors. And don't get me started with the music theme. Cinema. What else can I say? That theme is so cool.
Yo, who was in the studio doing this whole soundtrack?
It's so it gives me so many goosebumps too. It feels so cinematic, and the timing again when it plays in the phase 2 or 3, I guess. No, actually not 2. It feels so haunting and bone chilling. It's very fitting for an eerie dragon, for that weird dragon. And the xylophones, like instruments, they go so hard, straight out of some horror movie. I also like the whole thematics used for Shara, like how it is inspired by Hindu mythology, especially considering it has like a marking of a third eye in his forehead. The teeth look like Oni teeth, you know. And I guess that makes sense because that just adds to the whole ancient mythology inspirations to the design and the monster overall. So, yep, listen, this is peak Monster Hunter final boss. It's one of my favorite final boss in gaming too. Yeah, it's a very cool monster. For those that don't know, my first Monster Hunter was Tri. Sadly, little kid me back then did not have the chance to enter Lock City. So I never really got the chance to experience like Devil Joe or Genmoran or Alatreon in Tri. I do remember one day, for some reason, and do not ask me why, that I once entered Lock City, only one time. And when I did, I just left. And to this day, I regret doing such a thing. Like, I only heard stories through one of my elder brothers talking about his fight with Alatreon in Lokla with his friends. So again, I really never got the chance. It would have been cool if I could back then really like get interested in the city. Maybe I would have made some cool memories to remember. The first time that I experienced Alatreon was in 3 Ultimate. Let me tell you this. When I first started playing Monster Hunter, like for the first time ever as a kid, I used to be very afraid of large monsters. But that fear slowly faded away by the time that I played Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. But then, a new fear joined the chat. Elder Dragons. And my first reality check was Alatreon. Like, seeing that interrogation sign on the quest really shook me. Like, how you're about to send me on a quest and you don't even know how the thing looks like. Oh, and don't get me started on the name of one of the quests in Tansia. The quest was called Where Gods Fear to Tread. And to be honest, it's such a badass quest title, to be honest. I have an unusual appreciation for quest name in this franchise too. Also, the area name is also very intimidating, which is something that Monster Hunter is also very good at, mostly old school Monster Hunter. It was called the Sacred Land, but since I'm Hispanic and I'm Spanish, back then I used to play these games on Spanish, and to be honest, the name feels more effective in Spanish. Like, it goes like this: Tierra Sagrada. Bro, if your territory is called that, trust me on my life, you will never find traces of my CO2 in there, not even no oxygen. Also, I failed the quest, and I never dared to touch foot into that quest ever again. And quick note, while writing the script for this video, I realized that there was an Alatreon urgent quest in Moga Village. I really don't remember that, so really, I'm sorry about that. When I analyze a monster, I not only focus on the monster itself, but other details outside of it. For example, like how it is viewed in the game world, you know, in the universe, how it is described by other people in the world, the lore, its presence and reputation, and even its personal music theme. Alatreon is a very unique dragon that feels somehow elegant in my opinion. More specifically, old Alatreon back in Tribe. That elegance and refined aspect of him, like in his behavior, was kind of lost with his return in Iceborne, which I miss. But don't get me wrong, that is not necessarily a bad thing, because I also like how fluid he felt in Iceborne, you know, how he moved. And I like to think that Iceborne's Alatreon felt more It felt more like enraged and agitated. Alatreon, as many of us know, is known to be a black dragon. And for those that don't know, black dragons are basically like the first class monster threats in this game, higher in threat than the usual elder dragons, and they're considered to be like legends and fairy tales. Alatreon is such an overwhelming presence within the lore of the game that it is even stated that the records of it have been burned by the guild. Imagine being that powerful and terrifying to make humanity want to forget all about you. That for me is really badass. Now, that whole thing of Alatreon's record being burned by the guild might have a reason for, which I think that this video made by Jacob, Theo, damn, how do I say that word? Theo rises it? Theo rises? I don't know, did I say it right? Not sure. He does it pretty well, you know, he gets a really good theory about that. So to summarize this fantastic video, which by the way, go watch it now. He theorizes it that Alatreon might not really be a villain that the guild might make him out to be, but more of a creature that has an important role in the balance of basically the entire world of Monster Hunter, as I understand it. I mean, being a dragon that controls all elements, lives in a region called Tierra Sagrada, and a sanctuary itself, in an area where not even a single breathing thing there is to put food on, well, except humans, because we are the most nosy living thing in existence. But you get my point. I'm sorry, but Alatreon is him. If we take Jacob's video as legit lore, keeping in mind it is just a theory again, and a really cool one by the way, Alatreon is a creature in which its own existence might be beneficial for humanity and the entire world, and the opposite of a figure of evil like Fatalis. Alatreon's theme, which is the original one, marked the first time of the implementation of an electric guitar in the series, and it goes so hard. And Monster Hunter World's arrangement of this theme is also very good, but in my opinion, I didn't like that they removed that electrical guitar and the organ. I feel like it was a very crucial part of the theme to amplifying Alatreon's terrifying presence, but it is what it is. I will try to make a comparison of both themes to clarify what I'm trying to say while editing this video. And I also forgot that the original theme had that leitmotif of Monster Hunter Tri's main theme, which is called To One With Life. But I think I prefer World's version because it sounds very nostalgic and melancholic with those strings. It was really beautiful. The original theme did sound a bit melancholic, but it was almost like as if the tri-main theme was being held back by Alatreon's theme, which you could say is a neat thematic meaning. But regardless, I still like both versions, what they are, but in my preference, I prefer the original theme. Needless to say, Alatreon is an amazing executed dragon. Also, his design is really unique. I always found his wings so interesting because they are so wide, like so big. His horns make him look so cool and stylish too. It looks like a double pom powder. Josuke will be very jealous. The reverse scales are also a nice touch, and that's something that Jacob talks about in his video, that it might have another thematic meaning of too, which it might sound like a stretch, but if I'm being really honest, if you're a long-time fan of Capcom, you would understand how creative and sleek these people are with their art and design. So don't lower your guard. Yet again, for me, it's a really peak Elder Dragon. I also want to say an interesting fact. Making this video has made me realize how cooler Alatreon really is, because I never had that much of a liking to Alatreon at this level. But after watching Jacob's video, he really has grown on me. Please go watch Jacob's video now. Please do it now. The man, the myth, the legend. The only monster which has no specific name, but takes the name of an event as his own. Fatalis is, without a doubt, one of the most terrifying dragons in fiction. His musical theme evokes fear and discord. While his design might seem like not that unique as other dragons like Gogmazios or Shara Ishvalda, it doesn't mean that it isn't a good dragon design, because there are simplistic characteristic differences. Damn, that was tough to say, Bernard. From traditional dragons, Fatalis almost feels like a monstrosity of a lizard too, really. And it is something interesting that in these games, the more that it looks like a traditional dragon, the more powerful it is. Fatalis, Safijiva, Alatreon. I have more vivid memories of old school Fatalis, but I have to agree that Iceborne's version is easily the best version, period. And that Monster Hunter theme implementation on the Fatalis fight is so beautiful. It makes me shed a tear, to be honest. They managed to perfect Fatalis' presence and power with the new technology that we have now. While old Fatalis felt more mysterious, Iceborne's version truly feels like a living folktale figure and a being of destruction, with how fierce and aggressive it is. And his theme, again, absolute perfection of an arrangement. The vocals evoke despair. The new version of the original leitmotif of Verdant Hills, which is the first area theme in Monster Hunter 1, is also very cool. It feels desperate. But let me go ahead and expose myself to say that I never beat Iceborne Fatalis, okay? That thing was so difficult. I would love to record myself doing that for the channel. Fatalis has a surprisingly good amount of characterization too. This dragon hates humanity so much that when it managed to kill fellow hunters that even attempt to slay this thing, it melts them along with their armor and coats himself with it as to imitate hunters in mockery. That is disrespectful and insane. And don't get me started on his other two versions. The other version of his is Crimson Fatalis, which is pretty much the black one, but this one is so angry and full of hatred that he looks like he's about to explode. This thing despises humanity at alarming rates. And Crimson Fatalis' theme also shows that extremely well. It sounds like a Dark Souls boss. This thing couldn't contain his anger so much that it unlocked a next level to his power. And my favorite version of Fatalis, Old Fatalis, also known as the Ancestral Dragon, and White Fatalis. This Fatalis is one that has left his life of resentment towards humanity and seems to be like a wiser and almost divine looking Fatalis or dragon overall. His design is so unique and cool, like that white and red add another color that I love to see. That dual color, I really like to see that. Those colors give off like this cryptic and divine aesthetic, and it reminds me of my favorite Titan in Attack on Titan, the Warhammer Titan. That white and red is so cool to see, like in a character is so cool. The beard and fur is so white that it glows. This thing summons red light in pulse too. Oh, and his Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate cutscene, it's so cinema, man. Like, the whole thing about the eclipse and him coming out of it as if he was some kind of time traveler was so iconic to see. And speaking about like music themes again, Iceborne's version is an insane arrangement, man. Like, I love that. I think it's the third phase, if I'm not mistaken, where like they play with the piano. Bro, that piano goes so hard, and the vocals behind it is, but to be honest, out of the three, I think my favorite is really what Fatalis did. I like how those bells amplify that feeling of this thing being like a divine legend. And listen, what else can I say? These monsters are amazing, and I hope that we get to see White Fatalis again. Like, I know that if they were to implement him in Wilds, they will really cook. Like, especially considering what they did with Black Fatalis, they could do an amazing version of White Fatalis. Yep, that's Fatalis, an amazing dragon.
I am Storm incarnate. I shall wipe the land clean. Pave the road to paradise with hurricane and thunder. Let us form our final bond to rule the world and all beyond.
Bro, let me tell you something about Monster Hunter Rise. I'm gonna confess that I used to dislike this game a lot, but after I replayed it this year, I think in March actually, my opinion on this game completely changed.
It was pretty good, actually.
I will not go into much detail about my opinion for Rise. Maybe I'll leave it for another video because I really want to talk about that, like that game as a Monster Hunter game. But long story short, Rise is really amazing and also underrated. In fact, no, let's say it's more misunderstood. That's the word. Narwa and Ibushi are and let me emphasize that part again, the most unique elder dragons to have ever been brought into this series, period. And it is criminally sad how underrated both are. There are only two cases of elder dragons hanging as duos, which is Teostra and Lunastra. Ugh, hate that monster. And the Wind Serpent, Narwa and Ibushi. But I love more the whole thematic dynamic that Narwa and Ibushi really have. From their beautiful design inspired by sea creatures, wind dragons, and the kami in Japanese mythology, to their story and their music writing. These two are the monsters with the most characterization in the entire franchise, in my opinion again, because they actually are characters, and not just like another creature that you fight against. Ibushi being this lost lone wolf searching for its partner, which is Narwa, for 100 years and causing the rampages in Kamura. His reveal and the fight are actually very awesome. And dear Lord, his music theme is amazing. You can sense his determination, the fierceness, and the whole Japanese feel and vocals with Hinoa singing it. It is just, it's gorgeous. Like, if I'm being really honest, man, I get so excited by just thinking about it. Like, maybe I'll play the song in the background. I mean, I have to. Like, I don't know, but I don't know how to even properly articulate my excitement with Ibushi, and I haven't even started with Narwa. Narwa is basically Ibushi's long-lost wife, and she's much bigger. Her theme is also freaking amazing, and it reminds me so much of Nier music, For the people that have played Nier Replicant, Nier Automata, that's why I really love that Narma music, because when I listen to it, it makes me remember those games. Her fight is also very cool and unique. It truly felt like I was fighting some kind of deity, like a goddess or something. I also love how these two fight upside down. It gives him a lot of personality. I do gotta say that of the two, my favorite is Ibushi. I just love his design so much, like his jaws, the eyes, the coral-like horns are really cool. Let me also praise their cutscenes and those unique poems that this game has, which I think is called haiku in Japanese, I think haiku. And the fact that these monsters are the only ones in the franchise that have actual dialogue is insane. They're smart enough to utilize the telepathy, which is how they resonated with Hinoa Minoto, to be able to look at themselves and unite. Easily the most intelligent, if not one of the most intelligent monsters in the series. I also love how these two as antagonists impacted the people in Kamura village. If you pay close attention to the dialogues of the villagers, you see how these characters, especially Hinoa Minoto, who are also a pretty neat character by the way, they are affected by what Ibushi and Narwa have caused. Like, do you imagine having to deal with the rampage for 100 years? The gameplay experience lets you know pretty well how intense this event really is. These people must have gone through so much hardship trying to fend off this event caused by the wind serpents, and truly, again, some well executed antagonists in my opinion. But I just wish that the pacing of the village wasn't that fast. Like, the sense of progression in the village, it felt very all over the place. That's one critique that I have about the game. Oh, and I gotta talk about the final battle of Almoder Narwa. When you fight Ibushi one last time in Narwa's nest, and him giving his life up for Narwa was something pretty cool to see. Wait, what's that? Oh, so you're saying he's a simp? Bro, get out of here, bozo. That ain't no simp. That is a man. The Almoder fight is very high. Her attack options they increase. The visuals are very cool, great, and of course the music is also really cool again. And when that Monster Hunter theme plays and Magnamalo comes in, bro, that made me ascend my humanity. Like, it was such a hype moment, and it is very sad to see how we had to kill these creatures, considering how intelligent they were and how they genuinely loved each other, But regardless, their intentions were very destructive after all. It really adds to the whole meaning about the game, there's some meaning about the story. Yet again, more good stuff by Capcom's part. What can I say? Do not sleep on Monster Hunter Rise. So we have arrived at the last section of this video, and I will be talking about the last two of my most favorite Elder Dragons from this entire franchise. Two which have interesting similarities, like in terms of themes, thematics. While writing the script, I ended up getting too inspired, to be honest. So I was considering leaving the material for a separate video, but that will be just a bit redundant on my part. So I will leave it in the same video. So let's continue with the last two monsters on this list, both from the third generation. I can't talk about Ceadeus without talking about Monster Hunter Tri and Ultimate themselves. This game was a highlight to this franchise, really. since it was the first time and the last, for now at least, to implement underwater combat. This new gameplay mechanic not only brought importance gameplay-wise, but it also brought like an importance in the thematics, in the story. You see, if it wasn't obvious, this game heavily emphasizes water as a beautiful aspect of life and something that defines life itself. Ceadeus is, without a doubt, and in my opinion, the most compelling monster in the entire franchise. Ceadeus' design might be a very simplistic design creature, which by looking at it, we can see its inspirations. It is essentially inspired by whales, It also has horns like a buffalo, and the face of a Ceadeus, which, fun fact, I didn't realize that until like a week ago, and it's been 16 years ever since I played this game. It is a majestic looking sea monster, and there's something very graceful and divine about it, and how it moves too, how it behaves, It's very tranquil. But this gentle gargantuan gets more interesting the more that you analyze the game's themes, their armor, the weapons, their designs, and the small bit of lore that we get to see, at least the hints. Ceadeus' armor and weapons designs are heavily influenced by Egyptian and Norse mythology elements, but mostly Egyptian, especially the Blade Master armor, which is basically Anubis, the god of the underworld and fertility. I don't know why, but for some reason, a Doberman has to do with fertility. And fertility is essentially life. This is some info that I learned thanks to the Man Monarch Dragons. This video blew my mind because there is a specific and tiny crucial detail that I've never realized about Ceadeus' design. A certain symbol implemented in the design of this monster. And again, shout out to him. And I thank you because this video, I don't know how I never see this.
Take a look again at this spot, but at a closer viewpoint. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Ankh.
So Ceadeus has an Ankh. For those that don't know, the Ankh is a symbol in Egyptian mythology that symbolizes life, or essentially a key of life. Interesting, right? So when we also analyze the arena where you're fighting, the area, it's some sort of like ancient civilization that somehow managed to build underwater structures and utilize tools to breathe underwater for long periods of time. Can I say how cool the whole ancient civilization stuff is in these games? This game are pretty obsessed with ancient civilization elements in the world building. Ceadeus is a perfect monster that complements the underwater combat both gameplay and in thematics. I'm sure we could talk about the pros and cons of underwater combat, yes, but we should all agree that story-wise, it did a splendid job. Let me also talk about Ceadeus' main theme called Moonquake and the credit song Eternal World. Such a beautiful piece of music that I ever heard. This song basically emphasized, once again, water being the source of our life, the origin. I personally consider Ceadeus to be like a manifestation of the beauty of the sea in flesh. A monster that, if we analyze the arena, was worshipped to be some kind of sea god by these ancient humans, and also by the song, especially both Moonquake and Eternal Worlds. I want to also talk about the main theme of Monster Hunter Tri. Remember the one that I said called To One With Life? But really, let me ask you, what is essentially life? For me, it is water. And even the Bible itself points that out. And I know it might be funny to some of y'all, but I'm a believer that the Bible is wisdom. So again, this is just me. But I find it very interesting how the scriptures themselves symbolize water as a source of life. Like, what was in the beginning before God put order on the foundation of the earth? Was water. We see that in 1 John 5:8. Interestingly enough, mentions how the three elements of importance on the earth are the spirit, blood, and water. Our planet is made of 70% water. We have water on our bodies. Water is essential thing for there to be life. I find it to be very interesting about the game and Ceadeus too. So I feel like this game is so beautiful, man. Like it might be really simple, but it's a very meaningful game. So yeah, that is Ceadeus is for me like one of my most favorite monsters in the entire franchise, and I hope that he comes back. But if he does, it has to be very, very carefully done. I feel like I wouldn't like that they brought Ceadeus back just because, I don't want that. I want, if they ever brought him back, I want like the story to be centered about water, the ocean, because I feel like it would completely miss the point of just putting him because why not? It's kind of like the final boss from Monster Hunter Gen Ultimate Attack. I feel like it will just like completely destroy the whole meaning about it, But who knows? I mean, Capcom are pretty smart, so yeah, that's serious. Oh boy. At last, Dark Miralis, the molten black dragon, the black flame of calamity. And I'm not talking about Nuudra, but also known to be the architect of destruction. Its description and quest in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate reads like this. Some legends consider this great dragon to be the devil fated to destroy the world, while others claim it is a giant who birthed the creation. Is there any way for mere humans to quell its unending rage? Let me ask you this, like in gaming, what is the final boss in a video game that you will consider to be like the most fitting final boss? Like what comes to mind? To me, it is Dark Miralis. The lore and the details about this dragon is without a doubt, and in my own opinion, the greatest and most badass in the entire Monster Hunter franchise. Dark Miralis is, as you may be seeing, essentially a volcano dragon. Unlike Zora Magdaros, which has a volcano on his back, Dark Miralis is a volcano. In the same way how Alatreon not having an icon symbol back then added to his mysterious presence and intimidation, the same way I felt about Dark Miralis, and I just couldn't believe what the creature turned out to be. How could someone knowing what this thing is send just one hunter to do this? The hell no! Miralis' temperature is so high that it boils and boiled an entire ocean, destroying ecosystems as it casually just walks by. It also shoots magma meteorites from its volcanic cores, like the cannon-like feature that he has in his entire body. But the main cannons are its wing-like appendages, which were useless for flight and turned into massive cannons because the other cannons weren't enough. With these cannons, he's able to rain them down as if he was summoning them down from space, sinking islands for no reason. Because why not? Miralis is fought in an arena of his own. And you might be wondering, why is the sea red? Maybe it's a visual dramatic effect? Oh, no. It's because that red color is literally the blood of living beings being killed off by the Miralis high heat. This thing kills hundreds, if not thousands, of marine life just by its presence alone. Dear Lord, that is why the locale is called the Tainted Sea. Man, that name is so cool. Man, somebody give a rise to whoever thought of all this, even if it has been like 13 years. I don't care. Give it to them now. Lava even flows throughout his body as if it was blood. Miralis has no choice but to remain in water to cool down. Otherwise, it will probably destroy itself to death by its own heat. This thing just oozes destruction. But don't ask me how the hunters are able to swim around without problem. So I don't know. I really adore Miralis' design too. There's like an architectural feel to it, mostly because of the implementation of basic shapes, like the straight lines and the squares. I should be showing a sample of what I mean. But even in his equipment design, you can kind of feel how robotic it looks. While it might not have a very creative color choices, because it is basically a volcano dragon after all, so him being black and the only thing that essentially gives like a sense to his appearance and silhouette is the lava that flows through his body. It's so cool. Miralis is also the only elder dragon that can be fought in both water and land. Now let's talk about his music theme. Oh man. It is perfect. Cinema. I'm not a composer, so I can't analyze music at the same as a composer, you know. I'm just an artist, so I guess how I'm going to talk about it in my own perspective. But I love how his theme was made. Like, it is the most conclusive feeling, like, final boss theme that I've ever heard in the entire series. And easily my favorite final boss theme in gaming. It starts off with like a hideous vibe. And I don't mean it in a bad way, more like how it describes the nightmare that Miralis truly is. The vocals amplify that tone, giving like a behold, the end is near vibe. The deep brasses evoke like that kaiju feel, just like how Gogmazios and Dalamadur themes were. And this part here, this build up part with the strings, the choir. And the brass building up, making it feel very hasty and in desperation. When I listen to that part, I imagine Miralis like just running down the magma balls and while the living creatures and humans attempt to run away. And as that happens, hunters are getting ready for orders to face the thing. It is so good, man. And then it explodes with a leitmotif of once again, Monster Hunter tries main theme to one with life. But it distorts the beautiful aspect of it into one filled with discord and of a disaster that has come, making Miralis represent instead of one with life, but one that is against life, a destructor, whose inner rage has forgotten redemption and is far from turning back. Gameplay-wise, Miralis is pretty simple. You know, you just swim down, and attack is a magma cores, the pools that are throughout its body to weaken it. At some point, it goes to land and you realize how big it really is and how fast it also moves for such a big creature. I do feel like gameplay-wise, it is a bit lacking. I would love to see like a modern version of Miralis because I know that they would improve everything about it even further. And part of me feels like Miralis is supposed to be even bigger. It's like the same with Dalamadur, but the technology back then was pretty limited, so I guess that's why, maybe that's why Capcom couldn't make them bigger, right? Miralis is actually related to Fatalis, and while I couldn't find more lore to back this up, any info, its behavior and animations, they really point that out. I like to think that Dark Miralis is essentially a Fatalis, or maybe a Crimson Fatalis, to be more specific, in which its own hatred and rage has surpassed the limit and become what Miralis is, losing its ability to fly. I also heard that his heart is known to be the immortal heart, and that it is believed that even if his heart were to be separated from his body, it will continue to live on. Volcanoes have symbolic relations with the end of life, destruction, and disaster. And it adds to the whole thematics of the beauty of life and its origins in Monster Hunter Tri and Children. It made me realize that there is some similarities with Miralis and Ceadeus, because, like I said before, Ceadeus represents the origins of life, and the beauty of it, while Miralis represents the origins of the destruction of life and the distortion of it. They are both sides of the same coin: life and death, water and lava, prosperity and destruction, peace and hatred, beginning and end. We have come close to an end to this video, and perhaps you're thinking, then what is your favorite Elder Dragon? Is it Ceadeus or Dark Miralis? Well, you should already know by now. In fact, no, you don't, because you will not see it coming. You don't see it on screen? Let's turn the opacity a bit more then. As an honorable mention, I can make a video on Elder Dragons and not talk about this adorable and ugly and lunatic chameleon dragon. Camellios is the most goofy dragon in the entire series. He's filled with so much personality, how it moves like a chameleon, or surprises you with instantaneous attacks, his behavior, how he fights like that one attack he does, where he's just standing there, flapping his tail and interrupting your footing with the wind effect. It's still funny. Striking you with his long tongue, and how it completely turns invincible is pretty scary, to be honest. It can completely vanish with no trace unless you damage some parts and carry some smoke bombs with you. His demons are very cool and iconic, but his Monster Hunter Rise version easily the best.
Yo, yo, yo!
Especially that beat drop. The vocals add more personality to it as well. Even if I love this guy a lot, I do gotta say that fighting him is a chore, especially in old Monster Hunters. Freedom Unite Camellios is unhinged. If you've seen my gameplay of him, dear lord, that is one annoying bastard. His skin is so tough, like why? He steals so much of your items if you're not careful, and his invincible abilities are a huge problem. Even if they tone out those down in Rise, I think part of what makes Camellios himself was lost. I love his design too, like his chubby legs, the tail that looks like a genie lamp, the horn, the huge jaws. I also really like the colors. Nah, but those aside, no. I feel like my favorite Elder Dragon is easily Dark Miralis. Camellios is second to him. I want to elaborate on my personal attachment to Dark Miralis, and also expose myself again to say that I never beat Miralis either. As a kid, I was pretty incapable, so I never got to beat it for real. I just fought him once and failed. But I have this personal relationship with Miralis, unlike how by design Gore Magala is written in such a way to make the player feel like a rivalry against it. But in Miralis' case, it is just a coincidence, Monster Hunter Tri 3 Ultimate means a lot to me, guys. Besides many reasons, but mainly because it was one of my most cherished gifts that my grandma ever gave me. She was the one to give me a 3DS X large, and that console was very special to me. And one of the first games that I got was 3 Ultimate. I have some really fond memories of playing solo and with my cousins because of this game. Weirdly enough, not beating Miralis weighs on me to this day. My grandma passed away a few years back, and it was for sure a big shock to me because she passed away right after I left from my homeland, Puerto Rico, and I went to live to North Carolina for a year, so I wasn't able to see her one last time, not even be present to her funeral. Hopefully, I can properly finish the Ultimate someday, and I want to do it, on my channel today, on my YouTube channel. I want to record myself and do it. Honestly, I really miss my grandma. I kind of wish that she could still be alive and see the type of man that I have become. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I know that is different from the usual Monster Hunter Freedom Unite videos that I have been doing. And if you're new here, you want to check them out, do so. They don't have my voice, They're basically like just me playing the game with memes, and they might at least make you giggle. And they also have some cool edits and whatnot. Yes, I will be changing my content a bit because I just really want to talk. I wanna meet people. I want to discuss with them. I want to talk with them. I want to share the thing that I love, my mindsets, and just show who I am and show it to the world. I just want to be seen. I want to be noticed. I want my existence to be shown to the world. So yeah, and expect more videos like this. I will be doing a lot more. And also I want to do gameplay videos, playthroughs and all. I would like to keep making this type of videos, commentary videos and video essays and also reactions, hopefully. So yeah. Also, before I go, also check out my artwork video process playlist that I have. I have like a whole playlist of shorts where I put like my artworks and how I do them, in process. So please, if you like art, check that out too. Anyways, that'll be for today. Have a nice day, and my friend, God bless you, wherever you are, dear listener.